I really like today because I feel like each video builds on to one another like really well. So the first video today, we were, graphing given slope. Then the second video, we were graphing given slope-intercept form. I'm just making sure I'm right. Yeah. And now in this video, we're going to write the slope-intercept form equation given the graph. So it's just building on or kind of like going in the opposite direction. I don't know. I think I like it. That's just the nerd in me. So slope-intercept equation from a graph. All right, so what that means, slope-intercept equation. So what is the slope-intercept equation that we have been practicing? Okay, it is y equals mx plus b. Where, oops, you didn't even see me write that. Where x and y are just points that we plug in. But what's so crucial is m, that's our slope. Slope, slope, slope. And b, that's our y-intercept. So that's where the line crosses the y-axis. Where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay? So, what we are going to be doing in this video is you are going to be given 5 different graphs. We're going to do one at a time, obviously. And then we are going to write the equation given the graph. My apologies, I feel like the quality of the video has just gotten terrible. But it says it's in the highest quality, so I'm not really sure what's going on. So we're just going to go with it. All right, so this first one says, it's a little blurry. Let me unblur that. It says, find the equation of the line. Use exact numbers. And then it says y equals blank x plus blank. Okay, so we know here we're going to put our m, and here we're going to put our b to make it y equals mx plus b. So we need to find each one of those. Okay, so when you're writing the equation, we start with b. We start with the y-intercept. So what's the y-intercept? Well, where does the line cross the y-axis? Right there at 0, -3. And that's how you can confirm it. The x value should always be 0 for the y-intercept. Okay, so we know our equation then is y equals blank x plus blank. That's what they gave us. So in the box for b, you would type -3. All right. Now we need to find, so let's just talk about that again. -3, that's the y-intercept. So now we need to find what is our slope. So what's the slope? What's the steepness? So just find any other point that goes through the grid. So right here does. Okay, so we went up 1 over 2. So we rose up 1, so +1 over +2. Because remember, slope is rise over run. So, and you can check it from 2 other points. So here to here, we rise up 1. So 1, we run 2. Okay, so this is the answer. This is slope-intercept form. This is the linear equation, the equation that graphs as a line for this graph. Now, just so you know, if we weren't typing this in Khan Academy, you would actually write it as y equals 1/2 x, and then we would write -3. -3 just lets you know the y-intercept's at -3. We don't like when we write plus and negative. But because we have to type it in the box, you're going to have to it'll look like that. But this is what is ideal. If it weren't in Khan Academy, it would just be y equals 1/2 x minus 3. All right, so the next graph. So right off the bat, you can already know, is it going to be a positive slope or is it going to be a negative slope? Okay, so make a prediction. Which one is it? Make a decision. All right, well, it's a positive slope because we read graphs from left to right, just like we read sentences, and we're running up it. So if you're running up it, it's positive. Now, what do we start with? I think it's easiest to just plug in the y-intercept first into b. So remember the equation's y equals mx plus b. So I think it's easiest to plug in b first, to plug in our y-intercept. So where does the graph cross the y-axis? The y-axis is the vertical axis. It crosses it right here at -2. 0, -2. So I know that the y-intercept is -2. So I'll plug in -2 there. Okay, and now I just need m. I need the slope. So find any other point where it goes through the grid. Okay, so let's just say, because I usually try to look to the right, but let's just say I found this one first. Okay, so graphs, we read from left to right. So start with the left dot. And remember, slope, m, is rise over run. Change in y over change in x. So first we go up or down. Then we go left to right. So to get from here to here, we have to go up 1, 2, 3. So we rose 3. We're running right. So we're going right 1, 2, 3, 4. So the slope is positive 3/4. Now let's say I wanted to check that a different way. So -2 should be my y-intercept. Yes, the line goes through the y-axis at -2. Check, I agree. Now I want to confirm this slope is 3/4. So what's this point right here? Well, it's -4, -5. So -4, -5. So the slope was 3/4. So that means the y changed by 3, the x changed by 4. So it's change in y over change in x. So did the y value change or increase because it's positive? Did the y value increase by 3? Well, the y value went from -5 to -2. So yes, -5 to -2, that's increasing. That's getting bigger by 3. Did the x value increase or get bigger by 4? Well, the x value went from -4 to 0. So yes, it increased by 4. Okay? So now we're going to do this one. So it's the same instructions for all these. I just really want you guys to get a lot of practice with this. So this is really important to know how to do. So if you're having any misunderstandings, any questions, just reach out. All right, so try this one on your own. You see the graph, try to write the equation. So I, first off, just like to say, I look from left to right, and I know I'm running up it, so it should be a positive slope. That's just an extra check for me. Then I'm like, okay, it's y equals mx plus b. I know that m is my slope. I know that b is my y-intercept. I like to start with b. It's just easiest to me. So I look at the y-axis. Where does the line go through the y-axis? Right here at +3. So I'm going to write +3 here, because that's where the line goes through the y-axis at 0, 3. X will always be 0 for the y-intercept, so you plug in the y value. Now, what I do is I find another point, any point on the graph where it goes through the grid. So my eyes just saw right here. Then you look, because we read graphs from left to right, so you start with the left point. So if I picked a point over here, I would have started with this one to move to that. So I'm going to start with the dark purple one. Now, you can do it by the leaps, or you can do it by saying, hey, this point is 1, 6. So whichever way you prefer. You can do it by the leaps, or you can just say, change in y. The y is changing from 3 to 6 because slope is change in y over change in x. It's rise over run. It's change in y over change in x. So there's two different ways you can do it. You can do the leaps. You can say, hey, we're jumping up 3. We're jumping up 3. We're jumping right 1. So the slope is 3 over 1, which we simplified to 3. Another way you can do it is if you don't like doing it that way, you just make mistakes. Look at it, change in y. So let's say we're going to start with the dark purple one. To go from 3 to 6, we had to increase by 3. Increase, so positive 3. Over, change in x. To go from 0 to 1, we had to increase by 1. 3 over 1 equals 3. All right, so the last two we are going to do go in the different direction. They're falling. So if you're reading the graph from left to right, we are running downhill, meaning the slope should be negative because you're running down. Okay, so if you're feeling confident and good with this, pause it and try it. So we start with the y-intercept, the b, because it's y equals mx plus b. B is our y-intercept. So where does the graph cross the y-axis? At positive 5. So right here, positive 5. Because that point right there is 0, 5. Now you find any other point on the graph. Does not matter where it is. So just to prove that, I'll pick one way down here. Now the farther it is, you're going to have to simplify the fraction. But that's okay. So this point right here is 7, negative 9. So pick your poison. Which way do you want to do it? Do you want to do the leaps on the graph? Or do you want to just do it in your brain? So slope, it's rise over run. Or it's change in y over change in x. Oops, sorry, let me zoom out. One, okay. So, change in y. We read graphs from left to right. So, remember, it's x, y, x, y. So, change in y. We went from 5 to negative 9. So, 5 minus negative 9. 5 minus negative 9. Well, minus a negative turns to a plus. So that's 14. Okay, change in x. We went from 0 to 7. 0 to 7. Negative 7. So slope is 14 over negative 7, which is negative 2. So that's one way you can do it. You can do it change in y. We went from 5 to negative 9. Change means subtract. So 5 minus a negative 9, 14. Or you can do change in, and then over change in x. Change, subtract, so 0 minus 7 is negative 7. So the slope is negative 2. Another way, if you're more comfortable drawing on it, and you can do the drawing feature on Khan Academy. So left to right. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I went down 14. So I rose, I dropped 14, ran. So I ran 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, I messed up. I skipped one right there. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To the right is positive, so plus 7. So slope, rise over run. So negative 14 over 7. Well, negative 14 divided by 7 is a negative 2. So it's the same exact answer. It's just whichever way you prefer when you're given a graph. And I picked really far apart spots. You didn't have to do that. I could have picked right here, and then that just would have been down 2, right 1. So that would have been down 2, right 1, which is just negative 2. All right, the last one we're going to do together. So here's our graph. So write the equation for the line. So write the linear equation in y equals mx plus b form, linear line. M is our slope, b is our y-intercept. So start off with y-intercept. Where does the line go through the y-axis? Right here at 3, because that's 0, 3. Okay? Now you pick any other point on the line that's going through a grid. Okay, my eyes immediately saw this one at, what is that? Negative 2, 6. Okay, and then you can do it either way. You can do the jumps or you can do the math, whichever way you prefer. So I do know the slope's going to be negative because the line is falling from left to right. So to go from 6 to 3, because it's changing y over changing x, so we have to start with the y. 6 to 3, we dropped 3. Negative 2 to 0, we increased, we got bigger by positive 2. So the slope should be negative 3 over 2. So let me check that. Drop 1, 2, 3. Run 1, 2. Negative 3 over 2 indeed. Guys, this is a lot of stuff in one day, okay? So it's okay to be feeling overwhelmed. Take it slow, take breaks, ask for help.